Our last speaker for this session is Dick Dunne, National Director of Bridge Preservation at GPI, and he'll be talking about the GAO report on corrosion and how we can help.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for hanging in here. I want to thank Tim and the organizers for allowing me to fill you in on what the Bridge Preservation Expert Task Group is doing. This is something I've been working with Raleigh on, and so it's basically from the FHWA point of view. So we have the normal disclaimer here, but since Raj isn't giving it, I don't know that we have to read it. And I want to be quick about this. So I want to talk about what the Bridge Preservation Task Group been up to, what we're accomplishing, and then really kind of focus on that last one, the peer exchange for corrosion prevention and mitigation. So you've heard a lot about this earlier this week, and if you've been on the TSP2 website, you've seen these pocket guides. They've released 7 to date: bridge cleaning through repair of concrete substructures. We do have another one coming out. It was this rigid cementitious concrete overlay, and it was about, the pocket guides by their definition, they were supposed to be a small little guide you could put in your pocket when you went out to construct something, and you could flip through it. Well, with today's technology, we now have that on your phone. But this one, the rigid cementitious concrete bridge overlay, was very big. So when we sent it around for comments, people said, why don't you separate these? So you're going to get 4 for the price of 1 here. Actually, Raj is getting 4 for the price of 1. And so there's will be one on low slump concrete, latex modified concrete, ultra high performance concrete. Thank you, Peter, for all your help. And supplemental cementitious materials concrete. So that's coming out hopefully this month. And once they come out, actually let me go back. Once they come out, they actually have a QR code. You can download them, and you can make them be on your phone. You can take them out, you can look at it. You can actually go through the checklist on your phone, send yourself a note on that. It goes right to your project file. So these are really good uses for people to use in the field. A couple other things that we've been working on. We've developed some case studies. These are 9 non-binding reference documents from the FHWA. But we did one on bridge impacts, bridge joint, eliminating bridge joints with link slabs, and then utilization of cathodic protection. We have one that's kind of these are on FHWA's website, so that's kind of the link there. We have one that we've put out there. It's not quite a case study, but it is in that same format, if you will. It was the prioritization of preservation for locally owned bridges. We basically surveyed a bunch of folks to who's using federal money to preserve their bridges at the local level, and we came up with some really good ideas from local owners who are doing that will help you streamline the environmental process for bridge preservation and other resources. So another thing that we've done is we've developed some newsletters. We've developed one on the most recent one was on bridge coatings, and it included a cost benefit. Again, this is on FHWA's website, and it's also on TSP2's website. So these are really good documents for you to use. We have FHWA's got the everyday counts, and one of the things that is out there is this ultra high performance concrete bridge preservation repair. They come around, they'll do a workshop for you. They'll come to your state, and if they come to your state, it's basically a 2-day. Well, yeah, I think it's a 2-day thing, right? And then, or you can do it remotely. So just contact Justin O'Sell if you want it. The Everyday Counts 6 initiative, I think, ends in the spring. So you want to kind of jump on that now if you want to do it. But it's really a terrific thing for you to understand what's going on. So a couple other things that FHWA has been supporting. One is this bridge deck preservation tool. It basically works with FHWA's LTBP Info Bridge, hopefully folks have used that. That's the data where everybody's NBIS data goes, and people can use that to understand what kind of condition states have for their bridges over history. It's terrific. So this is the first thing that one of the first things that we're doing is it's a pooled fund study led by Iowa. It's been supported by Indiana, Minnesota, Missouri, Texas, and FHWA. And as you heard earlier, these pooled funds are still open. If you want to join, please do. The more people that join, the more states that join, the better the information is, and you really get a better product at the end. Another thing that FHWA is doing is they have a feasibility of economics for non-destructive evaluation and structural monitoring, exactly what you just heard Shane and Tom talking about. Basically, this is where you'll be able to understand what types of benefits you get from the data you're collecting. Obviously Shane and Tom are here, and there are probably some other folks out there that could help you on that. But this is FHWA bringing this together, and then going to make that available to everybody from that perspective. And then you can once you go there, then you can go and talk to Shane and Tom and folks like that to help you with that. I think the last thing that I want to talk about is FHWA is developing a research roadmap. For those of you that are like me and have been around this since the Bridge Preservation TSP2 started, there was a roadmap developed for research back, I think, in 2008 in Clark County. And so they need to update that. And so Ping Lu is leading that from FHWA, and she's got a group basically, she's got the TRB chair, she's got academia, she's got the AASHTO TSP2 group, they've got the AASHTO T9, they got AASHTO maintenance, and I get to take notes. So we're looking to be able to come up with, where are the knowledge gaps, develop some research topics, develop rankings, and then publish the roadmap. So the last thing I want to talk about, and really is ask for your help in doing this, is the GAO put out a report, and it basically said that the state's bridge corrosion control planning, it examined the trends and the conditions of bridges on the NHS and how the corrosion affects bridge condition. So it basically came up with some recommendations. What did it find? It found that, deck area of the NHS bridges in poor condition has decreased, which is good, right? And I think we heard that, I think Texas, you guys might have talked about this, how or maybe one of the other states had talked about how the poor condition has decreased, but also the good condition bridges had decreased. So the problem is, as the increased in fair condition, when are those bridge decks going to fall into that poor condition? There's more of them in fair condition. That means there's going to be more of them that will fall eventually into that. So, states' practices vary across the board on what they're doing and what impacts there are basically from the information that they gathered at the GAO. They said there's limited information on specific corrosion practices and effectiveness. So, GAO's recommendation to FHWA was that they should ensure that there's ongoing bridge preservation efforts, including activities such as peer exchanges and case studies on corrosion. So that's the next step for FHWA, is to develop these peer exchanges. They've identified 18 states, 9 of them basically that are specifically experience freeze-thaw and use de-icing chemicals, and then there's another 9 that basically they've identified that have the freeze-thaw but also have saltwater exposure. So those are them. If you're one of these states that are either in the buff color or the blue color, we could have used blue and red states, but that, would have had another meaning, right? So we used different colors. But if you're one of those states, please look for, we sent out a survey to those states, and it's a rather lengthy survey because it wants to know what the states are doing for their in-service bridges, but also what types of policies have you put in place for your design of your bridges to try and prevent corrosion. You know, are you using, like we heard today, the glass fiber reinforcement, or you know, are you adding additional cover or whatever you might be doing? So those are the things that we're looking for in that survey. So if you're one of those states, you should have gotten that survey, and if you haven't seen it, maybe you want to talk to your state bridge engineer, because I think it went to the state bridge engineer from Raj. So we're going to have these two peer exchanges. We're going to have a half-a-day session that's going to be virtual, where we're going to talk to the states and kind of coalesce that information that we get from them in their survey. And then we're going to have a 2-day in-person peer exchange. So we're looking to have the one that we're in that buffer orange color in November, and then the one in blue states probably in February. And the goal is to have this finished report back to the GAO, because that's ultimately what FHWA is required to do by July of 2023. I want to take this opportunity to thank Tim Sherrill and all the folks from North Carolina. I think it's really important that we give them a round of applause, because they've been terrific hosts. But then we should thank Nancy, Darlene, Zach, Patty, and Buzane for all they do, TSP2, the folks from Michigan State who really make this happen, right? They bring it all together. So let's give them a thank you. So,
the preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.